All right, so are you ready to dive into some seriously cool AI stuff? Today we're looking at Google's new tool called Notebook LM.
Notebook LM.
Notebook LM, yeah.
Okay.
And it's basically like imagine all your notes, articles, videos, all those things you're always juggling.
Right.
You can feed all that into Notebook LM and it'll spit out like a full-on podcast conversation like with two unique AI voices.
Wow.
Pretty wild, huh?
Yeah, it sounds like it takes things a step further than just summarizing, right? Like
Yeah.
it actually creates this dynamic back and forth.
Exactly.
Like you're listening to a real discussion between two, knowledgeable people.
Yeah, it's not just like, here's the gist of it. It's like, no, they're actually having like a conversation.
Right.
In fact, in the source material, they actually had a sample podcast that Notebook LM made about Adam and Eve.
Oh, wow.
Let's just take a quick listen just to kind of get a sense of what this sounds like.
Okay.
Here we go.
All right.
We're going beyond the surface today. Have you ever really thought about the serpent's argument? Like why it was so persuasive?
Well, one thing that's often overlooked is how the serpent's tactics are kind of like. Well, they mirror a lot of modern-day persuasion.
I don't know about you, but I'm kind of blown away by how natural that sounds.
Yeah, it's really impressive.
But the really cool part is how you can like weave this into a whole content strategy.
Oh, okay.
The source material actually walks through this whole example of how you can use Notebook LM to create like a blog post and a podcast episode on the same topic.
So you're hitting multiple platforms then,
Yeah.
with essentially the same content, but repackaged.
Yeah. And think about it. You know, you've got the blog post that's driving traffic. You've got the podcast reaching like the audio folks.
Right, reaching a wider audience.
Yeah. And that's where the magic really starts to happen, right?
Makes sense.
Because you're not only expanding your reach, but you're also like tapping into Google's algorithms in a really clever way.
Oh, interesting.
You know, the blog post helps with your SEO. The podcast reaches a whole different audience.
Right, it's a win-win.
It's like a 1-2 punch for content creation.
I like it.
And of course, you know, wherever you have an audience, you have potential for monetization.
Right, of course.
So the source actually dives into some really interesting strategies, especially focusing on affiliate marketing.
Oh.
So they suggest like incorporating affiliate links within your blog posts and in the podcast description. You know, like imagine reviewing products, creating top 10 lists,
Yeah.
putting together how-to guides, and like earning a commission from the products you're recommending.
Yeah, so you're providing value to the audience and getting something back in return.
Exactly. It's a win-win for everybody.
Right.
And what's really cool is that the source actually shared a personal anecdote about how they made a significant chunk of change
Oh, wow.
through affiliate marketing on YouTube.
Nice.
So they're not just talking the talk, they're actually walking the walk.
Right, that's important.
It really underscores like the potential of these strategies when you actually apply them thoughtfully.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got a blog post, we've got a podcast. What's next?
What's next?
Well, the source says YouTube is where it's at, you know, especially for all those visual learners out there.
Okay.
So they actually suggest taking your Notebook LM podcast
Okay.
and turning it into a YouTube video using Canva to add visuals. Canva's got a ton of free templates you can customize with your podcast, audio images, all those fun elements.
That's cool. So you don't need to be a video editing wizard to make it work.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, a lot of folks think video editing is this big, scary thing.
Yeah.
But tools like Canva have really made it so much more accessible.
It's great.
I think that's really leveling the playing field for content creators,
I agree.
which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But back to YouTube, there's a dedicated podcast section now,
Oh, really?
and the potential to earn through ads and sponsorships as your channel grows is huge.
It's massive.
And get this, you can even repurpose popular YouTube videos
Oh, wow.
by feeding them into Notebook LM and turning those trends into podcast gold.
That's so smart. It's like you're riding the wave of what's already popular.
Yeah, it's all about like connecting the dots, leveraging existing content
Yeah.
and these platforms to create something fresh and engaging.
And it's not just creating content in a vacuum, it's understanding the ecosystem and how everything kind of works together.
Yeah. You know, I was already pretty impressed with Notebook LM,
Yeah.
but seeing how it can be integrated into this whole multi-platform strategy is really mind-blowing.
It's definitely powerful stuff.
But wait, there's more?
There's more.
You can even use text prompts as input for Notebook LM.
Text prompts. Like just write out what you want it to talk about.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So you have a specific topic or theme in mind.
Uh-huh.
You craft a text prompt that captures that idea,
Right.
and you let Notebook LM generate a podcast conversation around it.
So the level of customization is incredible.
It's pretty mind-blowing, right?
Yeah.
And the source actually used ChatGPT
Oh, cool.
to help them generate effective prompts.
Oh.
And they were focusing on everything from educational topics to humor to even fictional scenarios.
That's so cool.
Just to give you an idea, they included a little snippet from a podcast that was generated based on just a simple prompt about debt.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So let's take a listen. It's amazing how the AI can take like a basic prompt and spin it into this nuanced conversation.
Yeah, it's really impressive how it can make those connections, kind of weave a narrative.
Yeah, and it's not just like surface level stuff.
Yeah.
It actually goes pretty deep.
Right.
But let's not forget about Spotify.
Oh, yeah. Spotify's a big one.
Another potential goldmine for podcasters.
Absolutely.
You know, the source pointed out that while you don't get paid directly on Spotify right away,
Right.
as your listenership grows, you can start earning through ads.
So it's all about building that audience over time?
Exactly. It's not about like chasing those quick wins.
Right.
It's about establishing yourself as like a valuable voice in your niche.
Yeah, building that credibility.
And by diversifying your platforms.
Right.
You're not putting all your eggs in one basket.
It's always a smart move.
Which is always a smart move in the content creation world.
Absolutely.
You know, you got to spread that love around.
That's right.
We've just scratched the surface of what this AI tool can do.
Yeah, for sure. There's so much more to explore.
From generating these engaging podcast conversations to creating these multi-platform content strategies.
It's exciting to see where this technology goes from here.
My mind is already like buzzing with possibilities.
I bet. It's really opened up a lot of new avenues for content creation.
I don't know about you, but I think it's time to take a step back and look at the bigger picture.
Okay, yeah. Let's dive into that.
Because this whole concept of AI-generated content is still pretty new.
It is.
And it raises some interesting questions about the future of podcasting.
Right. Where do we go from here? What does it all mean?
Exactly. So let's take a little break and come back and ponder those big questions.
Sounds good. Let's do it. Welcome back to our deep dive into Notebook LM.
It's really got me thinking about the future of podcasting, you know, like how is this going to change the landscape?
Right, because it's such a game changer potentially.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. This could really lower the barrier to entry for podcasting.
No way.
Well, like anyone with an idea could potentially create and share their own podcast.
Right, they wouldn't need all that fancy equipment or the editing skill.
Exactly. It could just be like, boom, here's my idea. Notebook LM, make it happen.
So you could have this explosion of diverse voices and perspectives.
Which would be amazing, right?
It would be incredible to hear all those unique stories and ideas.
But there's also the flip side.
Oh, yeah, there's always flip side.
Like, what about quality control?
Right, because with more content comes the challenge of sorting through it all.
And figuring out what's credible and what's not.
Exactly. It's like a double-edged sword.
We might need to develop some, like, super-powered listening skills.
Maybe we'll need AI to help us filter the AI content.
AI-ception. That's a whole other deep dive.
Exactly. But I think it's something to keep in mind as this technology evolves.
It's like we're entering this new era of media literacy.
We need to be more discerning, more critical of what we're listening to.
Absolutely. And, you know, while we're on the topic of AI taking over the world,
Oh, here we go.
let's talk about the elephant in the room.
What's that?
Could AI eventually replace human podcasters?
Oh, the age-old question.
I mean, it's a valid concern, right?
It is. People are worried about their jobs.
But personally, I think human connection is always going to be at the heart of podcasting.
Yeah, people tune in for that personality, the humor, the shared experiences.
It's that human element that makes podcasts so engaging.
Right, it's like you're listening to friends chatting.
Exactly. There's this intimacy to it that I don't think AI can replicate.
At least not yet.
It's like reading a script versus having an impromptu conversation.
There's a spontaneity, a realness to human interaction that's hard to fake.
And beyond just the emotional side, human hosts bring their own expertise and perspectives to the table.
Right, they can curate information, fact-check claims, provide context that AI might miss.
They're like filters, helping listeners navigate this vast ocean of information.
That makes sense of the world for us.
It's not just about delivering content. It's about providing guidance, insight, inspiration.
Like being a trusted companion, a voice you can rely on.
So while AI might change how podcasts are made and consumed, I think human hosts will always have a vital role to play.
I agree. It's a partnership, not a replacement.
It's like this beautiful collaboration.
Yeah. Human and artificial intelligence working together.
Each leveraging their strengths to create something amazing.
And, you know, our source also talked about the importance of collaborating with other creators, too.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Especially when it comes to monetizing your Notebook LM podcasts.
Okay.
They mention teaming up with brands and influencers who align with your podcast's theme.
Makes sense. You're tapping into their existing audience.
Right, and leveraging their credibility to build your own.
It's a win-win for everyone involved.
And it's not just about reaching more people.
What else?
It's about building trust and authenticity.
Because if you're recommending something endorsed by a brand or influencer, your listeners already trust.
It carries more weight.
Right. It's like a personal recommendation from a friend.
Exactly. And it all comes back to that idea of building genuine connections.
When listeners feel like you're being authentic, they're more likely to trust you.
And that's what builds community.
Okay, so we've talked about collaboration, but what about promoting these Notebook LM podcasts?
The source had some good tips for that, too.
Like what?
Leveraging social media was a big one.
Social media makes sense.
Like sharing short clips or teasers to pique people's interest.
Oh yeah, little snippets to get people hooked.
And it's perfect for platforms like TikTok and Instagram.
Bite-sized content for the short attention span generation.
Exactly. You got to grab their attention quickly.
It's like creating a mini trailer for your podcast.
Right. Highlight the best bits to entice people to listen to the whole thing.
And it's not just about sharing clips.
Well,
It's about engaging with your audience, responding to comments, answering questions.
building that relationship.
It's about showing that you're a real person who cares about your listeners.
Human connection always wins.
You know, it's funny, as we're talking about all this, I'm realizing that technology can be this amazing tool, but it's the human element that makes podcasting truly special.
Couldn't agree more.
It's the connection, the authenticity, the shared experiences that keep people coming back.
And that's something worth remembering as we venture into this new world of AI-powered podcasting.
Technology can enhance and amplify our efforts.
But it can't replace the heart and soul that human creators bring to the table.
You know, as we've been talking, I've been thinking about this idea of AI democratizing podcasting.
Making it accessible to everyone.
But I'm also wondering about the potential downsides.
Like what?
Could this influx of AI-generated content lead to a saturation of the market?
Oh, that's a good point. Will it be harder to stand out?
Exactly. Will it become even more competitive?
Definitely something to consider.
It's like the evolution of any art form, you know.
How so?
When new tools and technologies emerge, artists need to figure out how to incorporate them.
Right, while still maintaining their unique style.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance between embracing innovation
And staying true to yourself.
It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Yeah, the brave new world of podcasting.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today,
We have.
but I think it's time for a little break.
Okay, sounds good.
We'll be back soon with even more insights and discussions about Notebook LM and its impact on the world of podcasting. Okay, so we're back. And, you know, throughout this whole conversation about Notebook LM, I've been thinking about something.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
We've talked about how it can create podcasts from like existing content, right? Articles, videos, that kind of stuff.
Right, taking what's already out there and turning it into a conversation.
Well, what about creating something totally new?
Oh, wow, yeah, something that hasn't been done before.
Like using Notebook LM to brainstorm, to spark new ideas.
That's a cool concept.
You could feed it random thoughts, half-baked ideas, even just like a word or a phrase.
And see what it comes up with.
Yeah, and because it's designed for conversations, it could help you flesh out those ideas in a really dynamic way.
It's like having an AI brainstorming partner.
Exactly. It's not just bouncing ideas off another person, it's collaborating with something that can process information in a way that we can't.
And who knows what kind of crazy, innovative ideas might come out of that.
It's like a fusion of human creativity and AI ingenuity.
Pushing the boundaries of what's possible in podcasting.
I love that idea, but it also makes me wonder how this might change our approach to podcasting as a craft.
In what way?
Well, right now there's a lot of focus on scripting, editing, production.
The technical stuff.
But if AI can handle some of that, does that free us up to focus on other things?
That's a good point. Like, we could spend more time on developing ideas, researching topics, connecting with our audience.
It could lead to a more thoughtful and intentional approach to podcasting.
Where the focus is on the content itself, rather than the logistics.
And it could open up podcasting to a whole new group of people.
People who might not have the time or skills to produce a show on their own.
It could truly democratize the medium.
That's an exciting thought.
But you know, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave everyone with one final thought.
Okay, shoot.
We've explored all these amazing ways that Notebook LM can enhance and expand the world of podcasting.
It's definitely a powerful tool.
But technology is just a tool.
It's true.
It's up to us to decide how we use it and what kind of future we create with it.
So we have a responsibility to use it wisely.
Exactly. As you explore the possibilities of AI-powered podcasting, approach it with curiosity, creativity, and responsibility.
Don't be afraid to experiment, but always think about the implications.
Embrace the possibilities, explore uncharted territories, and most importantly, use this technology to amplify your own unique voice.
Share your stories with the world.
That's what makes podcasting so special.
And that's what will keep it thriving for years to come.
Well, that's about it for our deep dive into Notebook LM.
It's been a fascinating journey.
Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep those minds buzzing and those podcasting dreams alive.